Good morning. It's Friday here. I don't know about you, but I am happy that it's Friday. I am happy that I don't have to wake up any children for school tomorrow morning. This was the first 5-day week, which is always a challenge, but was good. So I've been thinking a lot about what we talked about yesterday about the steadfast love of the Lord. We talked about Lamentations 3 in verses 22 and 23, where it's talking about the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. And so I just want to encourage you to stay in that place this weekend where we are centering ourselves in His steadfast love and looking for those places in our life right now where we can see it. It's also helpful to remind ourselves of places in the past where we have seen and felt God's steadfast love, because we know that He is faithful yesterday, today, and forever. So whatever He's done for us in the past, He's doing for us now, and He's going to do for us in the future. So today I want to share with you a little story about one of the places in my life recently where I've seen the steadfast love of the Lord. I know I've shared with you before that I have this thing about feathers. You know, I love the way that throughout the Psalms we read about how God covers us in the shelter of His wings. And so for me, one of the ways that the Lord communicates that love and the reminder of His love to me is when I find these little surprise feathers. Well, I kind of have a thing for birds too. So a few years ago, I saw an eagle, and I think I shared that before, maybe in a blog post, but that's another story for another day. But I want to tell you today about two owls that I saw last week. So we live in a neighborhood, and there is a lot of farmland and wooded area kind of surrounding us, but I hear owls from time to time. It's usually in the middle of the night. I wake up and I hear these owls, you know, one calling and the other one calling back, and they'll be doing this for maybe 30-35 minutes. Well, the other week it was, probably like 9 o'clock, and I heard these owls. Well, I knew the owls weren't coming from the backyard, which is where we usually hear them, but they were coming from the front. So I went outside and I could see one of the owls across the street on the rooftop of the houses across from me. And I couldn't believe it was just sitting there. I could see its eyes, even though it was dark. You know, we have some streetlights and things, but I could see the owl's eyes. And I could see that it was a pretty good sized owl. So I was listening because I knew he or she was calling to another owl that was on my side of the street, and it seemed to be either in the trees or on one of my neighbor's roofs. So I stepped out off my porch to see if I could find that one, and that second owl that I couldn't find went flying past me to some trees down the street. And then as I started to walk out onto the sidewalk, the owl across the street also took off. But I saw both of them. I saw the one fly right past me, and then I saw the other one fly away. I have never seen owls in the wild before. I've heard them a lot, but I've never been able to see them. So it was such a joy for me to see these owls. Well, a couple days later, my husband and I were taking a walk. There's a wooded path near our house, a place that we love to just walk or run. It's just so beautiful. And we try to get down there as often as we can. Well, we were walking one evening, it was about 7:15, and I heard the owl. And so we were walking, you know, really carefully and quietly, and I look up, and there is this owl right above me in a tree on the path. Now, it was still probably like 15 or 20 feet up, but it's just sitting there, and it's calling, and every time it calls, it sticks its neck out, and my husband was able to get some pictures and video of this owl, and I thought, wow, God, you know, I've been hearing these owls for years. We've lived here for about 10 years, and so in the course of that time, I've heard these owls. I've never seen them until right now, and I've had 2 experiences seeing owls in less than a week's time. So to me, that was just one of those reminders about the steadfast love of the Lord that never ceases, because God knows my heart. He knows that I have this thing for feathers and owls and birds, and the way that He reminds me of His love through that. So I tell you that because I know that we're all different. God's made our hearts unique, and we hear His voice in different ways, but I know that He has a way that He is communicating with you, or a way that you're longing to hear Him. And so I just want to encourage you this weekend, in whatever it is that you're doing, just to take some time and space and be aware of the steadfast love of the Lord. Ask God to help you see it. Ask Him to help you see His love for you. The more that we are asking, the more we are going to find, the more we're going to see Him. You know, he wants nothing more than for you to know how deeply you are loved. So lean into that verse, Lamentations in 22 and 23, where it talks about the steadfast love of the Lord that never ceases. Pop a comment underneath the video if you're watching this and you're thinking about a time in your life where you saw the steadfast love of the Lord. In a big way, in a small way, whatever it was, pop a comment, share that with me and with everyone else. And I hope that you have a great weekend and just are reminded of God's great love for you in a variety of ways. And I can't wait to come back and catch up with you all on Monday. See ya.